So, your United States Congress is on a path to diverting a shutdown as of Tuesday. But that does not mean that they have their acts together. They are still spoiling for a smackdown. It was one of the more bizarre days we have seen on Capitol Hill in recent memory. It started with the first two you just saw. Republican Congressman Tim Burchett, among the 8 House Republicans, yep, there he is, who voted to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, accused McCarthy of elbowing him in the kidneys. Here is the moment. It was caught on tape, on an audio tape, by National Public Radio.
I think it went all right. Sorry, Kevin. Didn't mean to elbow. Why'd you elbow me in the back, Kevin?
Oh, no, I felt so bad.
Hey, Kevin, you got any guts? Jerk. What kind of chicken move is that? You're pathetic, man. You are so pathetic.
McCarthy denies the allegation, and he told reporters that if he had hit Burchett, quote, he'd be on the ground, end quote.
No, I did not elbow him. No, I would not elbow him. I would not hit him in a kidney. I guess a reporter was interviewing Burchett or something. I guess our shoulders hit because Burchett runs up to me after. I didn't know what he was talking about. Some reporters asked me. I did not run and hit the guy. I did not kidney punch him.
I forgive him. I've said several prayers for him today, ma'am. Something's really inside his heart right now, and he's gonna continue doing these type of activities, and it's going to continue causing him embarrassment upon his family and his district, and frankly the Republican caucus.
The former Speaker of the House having to deliver lines such as, "I did not kidney punch him." Now, you'd think that that might have been the worst thing that had happened along these lines, but at a Senate hearing yesterday, this happened. This is a Republican senator. Now, we should note he is a former mixed martial arts fighter, Markwayne Mullin, and the Teamsters leader, Sean O'Brien.
You want to run your mouth? We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
Oh,
guy.
stop it.
Okay, if that wasn't enough, the House Oversight Chairman, James Comer, also unleashed on freshman Congressman Jared Moskowitz for pressing him about his own financial dealings after Comer has accused President Biden of corruption.
That is bullshit. You look like a Smurf here just going around and all this stuff.
Okay, let's bring in John Bresnahan, co-founder of Punchbowl News. John, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this?
You know, just listening to it again, it's impossibly stupid. I think there's a couple things. One is the House has been in session for 10 straight weeks. That is an extremely long period of time. Members hate each other after a couple of weeks. They get, you know, they're clashing with each other. They're button heads because of what happened with McCarthy, because of the time he was forced out and they had to find a new speaker. The House has stayed in session for 10 straight weeks. Is extraordinarily long period of time for them to actually be here, you know, together. So I think this is part of it. I also think there's a deeper malaise in the House, I think, for a lot of reasons. If you go back and remember when McCarthy was, had to get through the speaker vote in January, you had, you know, Mike Rogers, the congressman from Alabama. He had to be grabbed on the floor because he was going to go punch Matt Gaetz or something. You know, I mean, this whole Congress, we've seen this kind of emotion in the House, especially House Republicans. It's right there. It's right beneath the surface. And, you know, it just comes out in myriad ways. It's really kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, only that last exchange was a pure Republican against a Democrat in Congress, which is what we are used to seeing. Markwayne Mullin also, I mean, you're talking about the House and the tensions there. It makes sense. He ultimately, Bernie Sanders actually had to intervene and say, hey, man, like, back off. Let's not do this. But Mullin went to the cameras and said, you know what? He's not done with this. Take a look at what he said later.
Keep in mind, too, this isn't anything new. Andrew Jackson challenged 9 people to a duel when he was president, and he also knocked one guy out at a White House dinner. There's been caning before in the Senate, too. Maybe we should bring some of that back, and it'll keep people from thinking they're so tough and make us sit at a table, and we can actually work out our differences without poking at each other and want to run to cameras and call people names.
So apparently he wants to take us back to the era of Andrew Jackson and also bring back canings on the Senate floor. I mean, like, what is that?
You know, look, I think there's been a coarsening of American politics. It's clear, Donald Trump is responsible for a lot of that. He uses his language. He threatens people. He deserves.
He makes it okay, kind of, in a way.
Deserve a good beating and everything. Also remember, like, things are different now. After January 6th, we can't dismiss these kind of incidents. I saw fistfights in the past. I saw drunken members. I saw stuff like that. It didn't get on camera. And it wasn't as prevalent as now. And I really think after January 6th, we can't just dismiss this stuff. Look at what's happening right now. The attacker, the person who, broke into the Pelosi's home and assaulted Paul Pelosi is on trial right now.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are all linked together. You can't just dismiss it out of hand. As dumb and as childless it is, the coarsening of American politics, it plays out because the public, for whatever reason, thanks to the internet and social media, doesn't see these things as just, little spats. They take these things personally, and sometimes it turns into real violence.
Well, and that's kind of what Mullen was advocating there, returning to that. Very briefly, Brez, the shutdown, it looks like it's going to be averted?
Yeah, there's not going to be a shutdown. It was never really going to happen once Johnson came up with this plan. The Senate is going to take up this bill. The White House is, they're going to extend government funding through January, split up between January and February. The White House has signaled that President Biden would sign this thing. But, it's just kicking the can down the road. They haven't solved their spending problems. House Republicans, as we note, Punchbowl News this morning, this just buys them some time. It doesn't really get them anywhere. It doesn't solve where they're at. They're going to have to go back and give in and compromise at some point. And so far, they don't compromise with each other. They certainly don't want to compromise with Democrats in the White House.
That's for sure. All right. Punchbowl News' John Bresnahan. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. I really appreciate it.